Hello there ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gloria Victis. Today I'm going to be showcasing my heavy armour tank build for the game. If you enjoy standing on the front line, protecting your teammates and becoming an absolute wall that enemies struggle to break through, this build is definitely worth trying. This isn't a build that is designed to top the damage charts, instead it's built around survivability, battlefield control and creating opportunities for the rest of your team to secure the kills. Let's take a look. The tank build is all about controlling the battlefield. Your job is to lead pushes, defend objectives, hold choke points like this gatehouse right here, and absorb as much pressure as possible. Whilst your damage dealers focus on eliminating enemy targets and archers, you're there to disrupt the enemy team and keep your own teammates alive. In organised PvP, having a strong front line can completely change the outcome of a fight. Now let's talk a little bit about the attributes of this build. Your primary focus should be your constitution. Whilst you're not necessarily a damage dealer, you need to have enough health and enough survivability to stay alive through prolonged fights. Bear in mind, you are going to be in the wall, you're going to be in the shield wall, you're going to be holding choke points and gatehouses and making sure that enemies cannot skirt around or through your front line. The secondary focus is your strength. Albeit you're not dealing a lot of damage, you still need to remain relatively threatening. So, paired with an axe, mace or spear, one-handed, you're going to have a good amount of damage dealt to at least support your damage dealers. And when it comes to dexterity, don't focus on dexterity. There was only 1 point in there because I only had 1 point left. Now let's go over the abilities. I'll explain briefly why I've chosen what I've chosen here. I'll also throw in some optionals which you can take into consideration. So 5 out of 5 on Reaper just to unlock the next tree. We've got 10 out of 10 on Strongman, 5 out of 10 on Athlete, and 10 out of 10 on Breath Control. Stamina regeneration increased by 3% per level. This is purely just to get my stamina back when I'm blocking. 5 out of 5 on Shield Bash, just to access the next one, which is Vanguard. 2% per level on Vanguard, which increases the resistance of blocking. 10 out of 10 on Tough One, maximum health increase by 1%, so we're up by 10%. Evade, armor penetration of an attacker is reduced by 0.5% per level on this, so we've got a 5% armor penetration on any attacker here for evade. 10 out of 10 on Man of Steel, increases heavy armor, piercing, slashing and bludgeoning damage reductions by 1%, so basically you're making yourself even more impenetrable. 10 out of 10 on You Shall Not Pass, decreases shield resistance by 3% of each level. Then we've got 10 out of 10 on What Doesn't Kill Me Makes Me Stronger, health regeneration increased by 2% of this level as a passive ability, and 5 out of 5 on Unstoppable. Stun effects on your character are now changed to stagger effects. The reason why I've chosen this is it keeps me alive. I've tested this as much as possible and it keeps me alive for a lot longer during fights. However, what you can do is you can swap Breath Control 10 out of 10 for 10 out of 10 on Shieldman, decreases stamina drain while blocking by 2% of Shieldman, because you're going to have your shield up for a long period of time, especially if you're in front lines and you want to make sure your stamina drain is kept low. So, I'll keep this on screen for people who want to see or basically mimic my abilities. So here you go, here is my tank build abilities. Let's talk a little bit about the equipment of this build. For equipment, I am using full heavy armor alongside one-handed weapons and a heavy shield. This setup provides excellent protection, but also allows you to absorb high amounts of damage and also maintaining the control of a fight. Heavy armor, on the other hand, does reduce your mobility, so positioning becomes extremely important when you're facing, like, you know, open field PvP and stuff like that. Instead of chasing enemies, focus on controlling, like, the battleground that you're standing on, objectives, the gatehouses and stuff like that, and forcing opponents to fight where you want them to fight. Strengths and weaknesses of a tank build. Strengths: heavy armor, heavy shield, invaluable during sieges, invaluable during organised PvP and guild warfare. Weaknesses: heavy armor means that you are heavy. You cannot disengage as easily as your counterparts. Your damage output also will not match dedicated DPS builds, and if you become separated from your team, you will be overwhelmed. Here's some quick tips for people who want to play this build. Stay close to your teammates whenever possible, protect your healers and your ranged players, hold choke points, especially castle gatehouses, Be careful of your stamina, keep your stamina above 50% and don't waste it on unnecessary attacks. Most importantly, however, remember the role isn't to chase kills, it is simply to hold the line and make sure your guys behind you stay alive. Overall, this is one of the strongest frontline builds currently available in Gloria Victis. If you find a different one, let me know in the comments. Mine is durable, reliable, and incredibly rewarding if you're playing in a defensive role and supporting your team. If you decide to give this build a try, let me know how it performs for you down in the comments. I'd also love to hear any tweaks or variations that you guys have made to the abilities or the attributes. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more Gloria Victis content, and ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you on the battlefield. I've been Mr. Feudal, I'll see you all another time.